Okay, friends, this equation is going to be on how to solve radical equations. So to solve radical equations, the very first thing you want is you want the radical symbol isolated, and it is already. So now all you need to do is get rid of it. And the way you undo a square root is you take the second power. So you would take a square here, and you would take a square here. Now you do that so that the square can erase the square root. So now you're going to have 39 minus x is equal to 36. And then what I would do is I would move the x and I would move the 36. Because I like my x to be positive. So that gets me 3 is equal to x. Of course, if you did it the other way, that's fine. It just took you an extra step. All right, number 2. Our goal is to get these square roots isolated, and if there's more than one, you need them to be on different side of the equal sign. So this guy is isolated, yay. And this guy is isolated, yay. They are on different sides of the equal sign, yay. So now I'm ready to do the work, and the work is to get rid of them. So we're going to put parentheses around this and square it. We're going to put parentheses around this and square it. And the squares erase each other. So after your very first step, you don't have radicals anymore. You simply have a very, very straightforward algebra problem, and then you solve it. And again, what I would do is I would move the x because I like my x leaders to be positive, and I would move then the 7 as well. That looks sloppy, where I put the plus 1. I wrote the plus 1 because people sometimes don't add the 1. So that gets us 3x is equal to negative 9. So x is equal to negative 3. And then on this one, again, step 1 is to take your square roots and isolate them. So this square root needs to be isolated. So to do that, you're going to have the square root of 2x plus 7, but you need to move the x. So we move the x, and we move the x by adding x to both sides. Now you could have added x to the end and written 2 plus x, but nobody likes 2 plus x nearly as much as they like x plus 2. But mission accomplished in that this is now isolated. Now that he is isolated, you can get rid of him. You're going to get rid of him by squaring him, and what you square on one side, you have to square on the other side. All right, the square on the left gives you a 2x plus 7. The square on the right gives you an x squared plus 4x plus 4. If you struggle with this piece, if you struggle with that piece, please remember that means x plus 2 times x plus 2, that's x squared, that's 2x, that's 2x, that's 4, and that is where I have x squared plus 4x plus 4. I just did it without doing any of the green work. Okay, now I'm going to notice this, friends. I'm going to notice that I have a quadratic. And because I have a quadratic, I'm going to then follow the directions of solving quadratics. And to solve quadratics, you want it equal to 0. So if I want it equal to 0, I'm moving this side. The reason I'm moving this side is I want my x squared to be positive. If you don't want your x squared to be positive, then move everything the other way. But you have more things to move when you do that. And when you do that, you have an equation you don't like to look at. So we equal that. Then we take the factors. And the factors would be x plus 3 and x minus 1. Because if you multiply them together, you get negative 3. If you add them together, you get positive 2. So this x would equal negative 3, and this x would equal 1. Now, one of the things we have not talked about is the fact that you are supposed to check your work to make sure it does work. So if I go back and I grab the original equation, it's not going to let me grab this. Actually, you know what? It will be better than that. Would be just to erase it. So there, we'll just erase that stuff. Oh, and we'll erase this. And then so you go back and you grab the original equation. And you're going to check your answers. So I'm going to check the answer -3. And I'm going to check the answer 1. So if I check the answer -3, I'm going to put -3 in here. That's going to give me, oh, and I'm also going to put -3 in here. That's going to give me -6 plus 7 plus 3 equals 2. The square root of 1 plus 3 equals 2. 1 plus 3 equals 2. 4 equals 2. That's false. -3 is out. When you do the check, you don't do plus and minus. You only do the plus. Okay, so I need to check the 1. So I'm going to put a 1 here, and I'm going to put a 1 here. So those evaluate problems that we did since the beginning of the school year, this is why we did them, is so you understand. To evaluate means to substitute the value in. 2 plus 7 minus 1 equals 2. The square root of 9 minus 1 equals 2. 3 minus 1 equals 2. 2 equals 2. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. My only answer is 1. By the way, if we would have checked question 1 and question 2, we would have gotten that they work also. All right, my friends, so that is how you solve a radical equation. If you have any questions, ask me in class or send me an email. I'll be happy to help you out. Have a great day. Whoops.